for joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 5, Episode 19, Hammer of the Gods.
This is a really funny episode, I think.
Yeah.
I surprisingly enjoyed it because, obviously, I'm a pagan. So, but I'm kind of used to it, though. Pagan things get used in pop culture and TV shows and misrepresented and misinterpreted and,
Yeah.
To ridiculous and sometimes alarming degrees, I feel like. So, I have a thick skin for it, I feel like. I think the only things that, where I was, my eye was twitching a little bit is some of the things that they did with Kali. I was like, listen, how very dare. How very dare. And it turns out that I was not alone in my sentiment about that. Fun fact, which I will put in just a little bit later on. But but there were also parts where she was kind of excellent. And, in her mythology, she is a defender of mankind. She specifically protects mankind from demons. And is this incredibly complex and complicated representative of the feminine divine in many ways, in a way that one of the reasons why I love reading about Kali is because I feel like she encapsulates a lot of the complexities of the identity of womanhood and femininity that is missed in many, many, many other mythologies, stories, religions, especially of a Western background. Our female representation tends to be very one-dimensional. You can be a saint or you can be a whore, kind of. And that's the dichotomy that we get for women. And when you go into the feminine divine, it gets a little bit more, but you still get a lot of mother, maiden, and crone, which can be kind of reductive as well.
Yeah.
Kali, I feel breaks all of the boxes. She's allowed to be, not allowed to be. She's fierce. She's beautiful. She's a force of creation and destruction, as I understand from my reading and research. She encompasses everything. This is all the complexity. She's angry. She's happy. She distributes blessings. She's a truly complex and complicated and what feels like to me a very real face of feminine divinity. And I remember being a kid and going into Barnes and Noble. Honestly, this part of my preamble wasn't planned, but I'm going to share this with you guys. Going into Barnes and Noble, and I was doing comparative religion classes for the first time, and I was so curious about what other people thought about goddesses in particular. I was like, what is there that's different from what I've been raised with? And I remember opening this book and seeing this incredibly beautiful illustration of Kali. And it's one of the ones where she's riding a tiger and she's armed because she's about to go into battle and slay demons. And I was just like, oh my God, where have you been all of my life? I can't describe to you how there was a part of me that really needed to see something like that.
That's nice.
And I just feel like it's so beautiful. And it's endlessly fascinating to me trying to learn as much as I can about different things, because I feel like sometimes it fills holes that we have.
I like learning things all the time.
Yeah, it's so nice to connect to people and learn more deeply. And so I love Kali. I love Kali so much. And so this episode, there were parts where I was like, yes. And then there were parts where I was like, no.
Yeah. I think because she's considered a dark goddess, isn't she? And a lot of the goddesses who are considered that, I feel like you said, they're more complex than that. They just kind of get put into this pigeonhole. And it's that's not the only part.
sorry, Laura. For anybody who's listening who's not familiar, this is a terminology that gets used in witchcraft circles, mostly the dark goddess title, to describe goddesses who are more complex or deal with darker themes like death.
Yeah, darker themes.
War, things like that. So your warrior goddesses, your death goddesses, goddesses of destruction, goddesses linked to natural cycles like that. That terminology gets added to, I think, this. And one of the things that I've always thought is wrong about that is like, I get what people are trying to do, and I don't think that it's wrong exactly, but what I think
comes across as negative though.
It does come. This is the thing: is it comes across as negative, and it shouldn't be. And for me, I feel like a lot of representations of female divinity are, again, like I said before, they're very one-dimensional. They're very much a patriarchal idea of what the ideal woman should be, and the quote-unquote dark goddesses are all the goddesses that step outside of that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all the feminists.
Which is why I like them.
Honestly, they're all it's like all the badass feminists. You should think about what you're about to say. Tremble, mortal. You know, like all of those.
Yeah.
It's like a loving way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's those ladies. Those ladies.
But they're really important for, like, if you do any kind of shadow work or anything, which has been really important to me in my life.
Same.
It's about accepting all of the parts of yourself, and that's why I like those kinds of goddesses, when you learn things about them and learn from like their stories or whatever. Like you can't just have like the Aphrodites of the world. It needs to be.
We love Aphrodite, and we love the mothering
but no one's
goddesses,
just like that all the time.
The virgin goddesses, like all. There's nothing wrong with any of the other goddesses, but what I do think happens is that some of the light and love ones get pigeonholed and reduced. And I believe that they were all once very complex. I think our Bronze Age great grandmothers had a much more complex system, and I think our female divinity was as complex as anything that we can see in representations of male deities. But I just think that it got reduced down and reduced down and reduced down and diminished until we have like very little knowledge left of what they were actually like. So I think sometimes when you find beautiful treasure troves of information of like deities who've been around for a really long time, and more of their original story still exists, that's always so lovely and so beautiful to find. That was a sidebar. I'm glad that we went down
a sidebar about goddesses.
It's been a full minute since we've done like a proper witchy sidebar. So like, yay.
Okay, that's our witches of the witches of letters.
Witches and the witches of letters. That's us.
We put the witches in witches of letters.
It's the horror and horror. Rats of the world. We did get a Ghost Facers clip in this episode. That was so random.
Was so random. Was that, I have a question later, but I was like, was this literally an advert for something that the CW did? Because it had like a website. And I was like, that was so weird.
I feel like it ties into something that's happening in the next couple of episodes.
Oh, okay.
But in this episode, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No.
It's just like
I thought it was a glitch at one point, and I watched it again, and I was like,
wait, have I accidentally clicked onto a different episode?
Yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows, let us know. But I feel like it was literally an advert for something they did, like a web thing. You know, when when TV shows used to put things in, and it was like, oh, there's an actual website you can go to do this and this about the show. I feel like it was something like that.
I mean, possibly, because they didn't used to have websites and phone numbers that were active. So
it was so weird and out of context, though.
Yeah. So preamble, my actual preamble. I have one. I'm gonna do that. So there have been listeners who have found us, discovered us as we've been going. Like, we've been recording now for 2 years. And so some people have found us as we've gone on, and we did have a big jump a while ago where I think many more people kind of found us. And of those people, there's a group, a very special group, who are I don't know, absolute like hunters. I'm going to call you guys hunters who decided that they were going to go back to the beginning, episode 1, and listen all the way
Oh
up
no, don't do that.
to where we are now. Laura's like, no, the sound quality is not. The banter is not the same.
No.
It's all right. No one's first episode is going to be as polished as their like 100th episode, Laura. It's fine. It's okay. We're allowed to not be perfect. It's fine. So these people have hammered every single episode until they've caught up. That is 5 seasons, which absolutely boggles my mind and means so much to both of us. And
we've done 100 episodes. This is 105. This episode. That's a lot of episodes.
That's a lot of episodes. I love them so much. I love them all. Today, I am here to announce and celebrate the fact that Nadine has officially caught up to us in real time.
Yay! Hi, Nadine.
Woo! Round of applause. The crowd goes wild. There have been a few people who've done this, and a few people have let us know about it. We had a really fun comment on Spotify as well about this, which I loved so much. But I wanted to take a moment to highlight Nadine because Nadine and I talk on a regular basis, and she has contributed so much with her stories, especially her spooky stories. Like she truly is a huge part of the podcast as a listener. And listeners like her give the podcast life. Like you guys who are in it like every week with us, caring as much as we care, always bringing something to the conversation. We love all of you. All of you are so important. And today I want to take the opportunity to highlight Nadine on the fact that she has actually caught up to us in real time, because that is so many hours of listening.
Yeah, definitely. She's done it in a short amount of time as well.
Sorry, what was that?
She's done it in a short amount of time.
She's done it in a short, like it's impressive. It's impressive as all get out. The other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about in my preamble was I emailed the Lantern Fund to ask if there was anything that we could do to support them, if there was any announcements, if they had any updates or anything, and they emailed me back. And they were really nice, and they said, "Thank you very much for reaching out about the Random Acts Lantern Fund. We appreciate your support. As you may have seen, we have reached our initial goal of $50,000. This money, donated by so many kind people, has already been put into action. We can share that many families have been helped with urgent food and personal assistance. Although we have reached our goal, we will continue to keep this fundraiser open. The goal is to continue to raise money while there is still a need. We think it's wonderful that you are interested in promoting our fundraiser on the Witches of Letters podcast. You can direct your listeners to give.randomacts.org/RAL Lantern Fund. And the links are going to be included in my show notes. So if you would like to donate, you can. They literally say that any amount. It doesn't matter if you give them 10p or 10 pence, or like, I'm forgetting American terms, a dime, a quarter, $15, whatever it is. You can make a one-off donation, or I think you can also set it to repeat. But I think the default is just, it's literally, it's like whatever you can give, and it's just so easy to find their website. Misha basically goes on to say on the website that it's just the continuing stories of parents and caregivers who are or are believed to be immigrants being detained and separated from their families in the US. And that this means that families that are left behind are forced to absorb the impact of that, and that children can lose their primary source of safety and care so quickly. Yeah. So the entire point of the Lantern Fund is really to support kids, and to help households that are going through this because of what's happening in the States. So 100% of your donation goes directly to the families. There's a fuller letter that you can read from Misha on the website, but he emphasizes so many times that any amount helps. It does not matter how much you give. It doesn't matter if you can't give anything and all you do is you say, hey, have you heard about the Lantern Fund? And you just raise awareness about it. That is also beautiful. So just doing whatever we can do to help our neighbors, basically.
Nice. That's good.
So yeah, that is that. And I have some trivia for the episode. Okay, so I went on Supernatural Wiki to just see, and I got some fun facts. And the first one is that the title is a play on a reference in the Led Zeppelin single Immigrant Song from the lyric, "The hammer of the gods will drive our ships to new lands." Um, and that Led Zeppelin sound was sometimes after the release of this album referred to as the hammer of the gods. Which I thought was fun because, like, we know that they love a Led Zeppelin reference.
They do love a Led Zeppelin reference.
They love a Led Zeppelin. I love a Led Zeppelin reference. It's a good time. It's always a good time. Then also there's the Hitchcock reference because of the Norman Bates situation.
Oh,
so, yeah. Sam goes creepy, and Dean says broke the needle. All right, I'll scope out the joint. And you keep an eye on Norman Bates over here. I mean, one night off. Is that too much to ask? And obviously Norman Bates is the creepy dude in Bates Motel in Psycho, which is an absolute classic horror. And then also in this scene where Dean sees Ganesh in elephant form, it's a reference back to a little bit because they come back to the Babar book that they said. Like, he's going to Sam and he's like, I saw an elephant. And Sam's like, an elephant? And Dean's like, yeah. And Sam's like, an elephant. And Dean says, like, full on Babar. And they point out that Babar is the main character in the books, the Babar books, and that it was also mentioned in Sam Interrupted. Because he's like, I don't have any elephant books.
I remember that stuck out to me as well because I remember in that episode, because I used to read those books when I was little, but I always called them the Bar books, so I'd been saying it wrong the whole time.
I never knew they existed. I don't think, like, if that was part of my childhood, I do not remember it. I remember Curious George, and a book about a mother cat and some kittens and some cookies and some milk. Which is why when I need comfort, I have cookies and milk, because I remember that book and I associate it with comfort. And I can literally see the illustrations in my head and, like, exactly what she was wearing, but I can't find the book anywhere. So that's sad for me.
No.
I mean, I am very grown up now, but I was like, what is it called? I just want to know what it's called.
Well, while we're doing, like, pop culture references, I might as well put in the Evil Dead one. There was an Evil Dead reference, wasn't there? When I love this bit of the episode as well, when Dean's like shouting all the gods and he says, all right, you primitive screwheads, listen up, which is a direct quote from the Sam Raimi film Army of Darkness, which was the third installment of the Evil Dead series.
I love Ash. Ash is one of my all-time favorite characters. There's a lot of Dean Winchester. I think that is a little bit pulled from Ash, and it makes me happy whenever there's an Evil Dead reference. I love seeing them. I got so excited when that happened. I was like, it's Ash. It's an Ash line. I also really liked Dean's like, please be tomato soup. Please be tomato soup. And then there's an eyeball.
Nope.
And I found out this is a reference to a film that I didn't know about because it's a little bit before my time. So it's called Motel Hell, and it's a 1980 comedy horror spoof, which was supposed to be spoofing things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So in the film, a brother and sister capture people at their motel and use them to produce smoked meat. So it, like, I can see where they're going with this reference. So there's loads of, like, horror movies.
He says Motel Hell as well, didn't he? I didn't know what that was.
He does say Motel Hell, and I didn't know either. I just thought he was saying, like, the motel is hell.
Yeah,
no,
same.
It's a movie. It's a movie, people, and now we know. Also, my favorite reference. Maybe my favorite quote from this whole episode is Gabriel saying, "You think I'm behind this? Please, I'm the Costner to your Houston. I'm here to save your ass."
He's their bodyguard.
He is their bodyguard. That is such a good movie. The Bodyguard is a great movie. And
The Bodyguard is an amazing movie. Yeah, I love
that movie.
Yeah, same.
And then
the musical's good too.
It is. The music, because, like, Whitney Houston.
Yeah, the musical version of it is good. I recommend it.
I've never seen the musical. I've only seen the movie, but the movie's kind of a musical because it's got Whitney Houston in it. So then there's the Jonestown reference, which I'm sure in 99 Problems there's a joke about the people drinking the Kool-Aid as well.
Yeah, I feel like they've made that
definitely
reference
made Jonestown references before. And in this episode, it's Gabriel saying, well, good luck with that. Me, I'm blowing Jonestown. Those lemmings want to run off a cliff. That's their business. So that's like obviously Jim Jones and the cult, and the Kool-Aid that was laced with cyanide. I'm trying to think. It was in 1978.
Yeah, fun fact, I love reading about cults because I find them fascinating. And like listening to podcasts about them and stuff. Yeah.
I feel like if we didn't do a supernatural podcast, she would have been like, do you want to do a true crime podcast?
Yeah. But like, I don't like, as I wouldn't want to talk about like all the, I don't know, I'd probably do more of a horror. It would be like horror things and cults and aliens.
Horror cults and aliens. There you go. I guess that's what we'll do when we finish the 6 years of this podcast, guys.
I don't believe them, but I love learning about conspiracy theories as well.
Conspiracy theories can be fun.
Yeah.
When you don't take
and you're just like, sometimes they're just wild and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Sometimes they're historic and then you find out that they're true though. And those are the craziest ones. Those are my personal favorites. Because you just go, what the ever loving fuck? How did no one know? That's so much fun. All right, so then the other reference that I have never known what this meant. I've heard this line every single time I've watched this episode. I've watched this episode a few times, guys, and I never knew what the hell he was talking about when he says that you should see the spearmint rhino. Turns out I learned today I learned that the spearmint rhino is a franchise of upmarket strip clubs.
Yeah, I knew that, but I don't know how I know that.
I don't know how you know that either. How do you know
it must
that,
be
Laura?
It must be in like other films and TV shows that I've listened to. They must have made reference to it. Context clues.
Context clues. Okay. Strip club context clues.
Yeah.
Sure. So my last fact is that, you know how I said I was annoyed at some of the ways that they treated Kali in this episode? It turns out I was not the only person. There is an entire article written by Hindus upset over the trivialization of their gods in Hammer of the Gods.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually the title of the article. It's a quote, Hindus upset over the trivialization of their gods in Hammer of the Gods. And I was like, you know what, fair enough. So the link, if you want to read the entire thing, is in my show notes, but I wanted to read you guys this snippet that says, in Hinduism, Lord Ganesh is worshipped as a god of wisdom and remover of obstacles and is invoked before the beginning of any major venture. Goddess Kali, who personifies Shakti, or divine energy, is considered the goddess of time and change. And then they also said something that I found really fascinating, because they're like calling out the network by saying, quote, the CW is America's 5th broadcast network and claims to be the only network targeting women aged 18 to 34. Now, I don't know why they felt that that was an important fact. Okay. But I found it really interesting that the CW was apparently designed much more to appeal to women than other audiences. There's a very specific caveat there.
I suppose it does make sense for the kind of the shows that were on the CW. Yeah.
Yep. It does. It makes a lot of sense when you think
they all had pretty boys in.
Very pretty boys. Who sometimes had feelings and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. There we go.
I mean, I could talk about it later, but my overall thing for the preamble was just, I really like Gabriel in this episode, and I know he's not been my favorite.
Amazing.
I haven't disliked him in the past, but he hasn't been my favorite. And when he was just the trickster, I was like, I don't know, he was a bit annoying. But, but I think he's really good in this episode.
Over and over and over again a lot of the time. So
yeah, but this episode made me think of him, and I was like, if under different circumstances, I think that him and Dean would actually be really good friends.
No, I totally agree. They would be besties.
Like,
they just want to eat, have good times with pretty girls,
yeah,
and like enjoy life. They
Yeah.
have the zest, and they hate dicks. They both
and they
hate
both have
dickish people.
yeah, and they both have brother issues and daddy
They
issues.
do. Exactly. Yep. No,
So I was
I
like,
think they would be
they're
best
the
friends.
same. Yeah. So that was fun. Yeah, I did really like him in this episode. I like as we know, as I've found out from doing this podcast, I apparently really like brotherly banter between, like, obviously Sam and Dean, but
Yeah.
even like Gabriel and Lucifer in this episode, it was just amazing.
Brotherly banter is Laura's highlight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I love it. Should I do the synopsis?
Yes, please, Laura.
So this is season 5, episode 19, Hammer of the Gods. The original air date for this episode was April 22nd, 2010. Sam and Dean are lured to a fancy hotel by a bunch of gods. Sorry, I made myself laugh. By a bunch of gods from a range of different religions. They have gathered to try to stop the Christian apocalypse and are planning to use Sam and Dean to do that. Gabriel then shows up as Loki and tells everyone that they won't be able to kill Lucifer and tries to seduce Kali, who tries to kill him. Dean agrees to help the gods lure Lucifer there so they can try to kill him, but one of the other gods has already called him, and Lucifer turns up and kills everyone except Gabriel, Kali, Sam, and Dean. Gabriel stands up to his brother to protect the rest of them who managed to get away, but Lucifer then kills Gabriel. During this time, spoiler alert, Gabriel had given Dean a DVD and told him to guard it with his life. Once they get away, they watch, and there is a message from Gabriel telling them they need to collect all 4 of the Horseman's rings, and then they might be able to use them to trap Lucifer back in his cage. And the plot thickens.
Like,
yeah,
Casa
I thought that was a good ending. Yeah. That was so funny. Oh dear.
Honestly, Nick called me, so I paused the episode, and where the episode it was, I took a screenshot of it because it's hilarious, because I was going to send it to you and then I forgot. It's like the close-up of Gabriel and like the half-naked girl in the porno scene. It just looked like I was watching porn on my laptop. Like, I died laughing.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone walked in right now, they would get a really, really wrong idea. And I was thinking, you know how like you can be a Supernatural fan out of context and it's just absolutely wild? This has got to be one of the wildest ones. Like, you just pause your laptop on any given Tuesday and it looks like you're watching porn.
That was I was going to mention this later, but when they're actually watching that later, it's so weird that they're just watching it on top of their car. I'm like, what? On a laptop. I'm like, why are you watching porn on top of your car?
Where else are they going to put it?
Out in the middle of nowhere.
They're homeless.
In a hotel, maybe?
I don't know. They had to watch it then and there. They had to find out what the info was.
Out in the open watching porn. But yeah, that just opened up.
Yeah. That was hilarious. Honestly, it was hilarious. So my first note, I need you to know, says, true haunted hotel vibes. I don't have high hopes for this security guard's lifespan.
Oh no, that poor security guard.
Yeah.
He became dinner.
He did become dinner really fast. At least he died in the Elysian fields. Maybe he'll end up there.
Maybe. So we open outside an old abandoned hotel in Muncie, Indiana. Was it Muncie?
Yep, Muncie.
A car pulls up and a security guard goes inside. We see that this place is completely derelict, but it still looks like a hotel inside. Everything's there, but like covered in sheets. We hear sounds of clanging, which startle the security guard, and he calls out, "Hello." He shines his torch around and walks towards the sound. As he passes, we see a small dead potted plant on the counter, and it begins to return to life.
Did that make you think of the Siren episode with like the spooky flowers? They were all like, "Ooh, it's the siren. It's these flowers are a reference."
Ah, no, it made me think of Little Shop of Horrors.
That's also valid. And then there was the broken mirror, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Bloody Mary as well."
Oh no! Don't bring her up.
Sorry. I swear we get more haunted audio. Nadine comes back and is like, "I heard." And Laura just goes, "No!" So he investigates further, and a loud bang startles the security guard once again.
As he turns around, he witnesses a shattered mirror slowly returning to its original form. He hears another noise and turns around, where there is now a man standing right in front of him. He says, "Hiya!" It's so random. "Hiya!" and looks at him all menacing. The guard tells him he can't be there, but the man says, "Of course he can," explaining someone has to get everything ready as they are coming and they all have a part to play. And he tells the guard, "Even you." And the guard says, "What?" And then the man explains that he's dinner and kills him.
Yep.
And there's a big splatter of blood on the wall.
Yeah, it was honestly such a good horror opening scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was that kind of stereotypical supernatural flawlessly make us think we're watching a horror film for the opening scene kind of setup. It was great.
Yeah.
Good gore.
Yeah. There's another bit later on where it's when Lucifer starts killing everyone. There's gore everywhere.
Indeed.
Gore all over the place.
Gore coming out everybody's eyeballs. Up the walls.
Stop bringing up eyeballs.
He says the forbidden bug in this episode. That was
yeah, he does. I made a note to tell you about
that. I thought you would have. Yeah, thanks, Laura. And then Pestilence is also horrible for me because it's body horror.
No,
and also
don't like him.
Disgusting. I was like, this is like anti-vaxxers during COVID. That's what this man is representing.
Oh, no, yeah, we're skipping ahead a bit though.
Yeah,
with him.
You're always like, fuck's sake, can we please just go in order? No. Why would I do that?
We then see the Elysian Fields Hotel, which was the same hotel from the beginning, but it's now back to its original glory. And so this is a reference to the underworld in the Greek mythology, which I thought was interesting because obviously there's a load of gods in this episode.
Yeah, the Elysian Fields are like paradise. They're the good place that you go to if you were good in ancient Greece. So the hotel's back to its original glory. There's a storm, and Sam and Dean pull up outside and go inside. They comment about how it's a much nicer hotel than they usually go to, and go to the front desk to check in. And here we see the man from the opening scene is the guy that's checking them in. Did you see that his name badge says Chad? I did indeed, yes.
Of course he was a Chad. Also, he's typing really weird. So he like types like as if he's checking people in, but it was really obvious that he wasn't actually checking people in, and it reminds me of like when aliens tried to pass as human.
Yeah, it's because Mercury is speed. He's incredibly, like, one of his gifts is that he travels very far, very fast, and he could do things very quickly.
He's like the messenger, isn't he? Is he like Hermes? He's Hermes, yeah.
Yeah,
Hermes
he's
Mercury.
the Roman equivalent. Yeah. So him typing super fast, I thought was a really fun in joke. If you know your mythology, it makes a lot of sense.
I didn't realize it was just that he was typing fast. I was just like, this seems really random and like he's trying to fit in, but not quite. Which
is also happening. That was also part of it, for sure, because he's a god trying to pretend to be human, and he's not like totally succeeding at being human.
So he checks them in and tells Dean he thinks he cut himself shaving as he has a little cut on his neck, and hands him a tissue and their keys. Dean asks if they have a coffee shop, and Chad points out that they have an all-you-can-eat buffet with the best pie in the tri-state area, and Dean's face lights up at the mention of pie. And then we see him with the pie.
Yeah, and he is literally in his happy place.
There's like a million pies.
Yeah. And he has never been better, and this man says heaven, right? And Dean says, trust me, pal, better. Because obviously in the last a couple of episodes, Zachariah was like torturing them in heaven.
Yeah,
Dean's like,
we know, heaven is scary.
Don't want to go to heaven.
This poor guy as well, like he keeps coming back, but he's not having a good time.
Yeah, he is not having a great day.
Buffet guy.
Yeah. And then we see Kali for the first time, who is stunning. So Dean obviously goes up and is like, how you doing?
He is Joey from Friends again.
He is Joey from Friends again. And she just looks at him and says, no. And Dean says, but? And she says, no.
No.
And Dean says, oh, lady, I'm just, And she says, I understand. And no.
I loved her.
And then I love her too. I was like, this is very perfect. This is making me so happy. And then Dean was like, 10-4, yeah. And then he goes away respectfully because Dean is he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And this whole scene made me laugh, honestly, so hard. And I just wrote down, how you doing? No. One of my favorite lines.
Yeah, it was good.
So then Sam is telling Dean that they should hit the road. And he's like, in this storm? Are you crazy? And Sam says it's biblical. Exactly. It's Noah's Ark out there and we're eating pie. Dean's face is like, we should always be eating pie. There's nothing wrong with eating pie. And he asks him how many.
A problem here.
Yeah. He's like, I see no issue. He's like, how many hours of sleep did you get this week? 3, 4. And then he says that Bobby's got his feelers out and that every hoodoo man and root woman in 12 states. And they're all working together, basically. And Sam says he's not giving up. And Dean's like, no one is giving up, okay? We're going to find a way to beat the devil soon. I can feel it. And we will find Cass. We'll find Adam. But you're no good to me, burnt out. And I literally wrote, oh, yeah, Cass and Adam got angel naps. Like, I completely forgot until that line. I forgot
that Cass is gone.
Yeah. Forgetting about Adam, by the way, is a theme.
Oh, poor Adam.
Poor Adam. Yeah. So Sam's like, yeah, okay. So then Dean's like, listen, we've got the night off for once. Can we just enjoy it? And
I wonder how well that's going to go for them.
Dun, dun, dun. It did not, in fact, go well.
No. You could say that.
Yeah. So then we see a server carrying a tray of dirty glasses, and the camera pans to a severed arm on the counter next to a bloody cleaver.
I liked this shot where it was like following her, wasn't it? It was following her through the restaurant and then into the kitchen. It was
a very cool kind of like tracking shot sort of situation. Yeah. And I just wrote Soylent Green is people.
Ew. There's people in the pie, Dean.
There's not people in the desserts, but there's definitely people in the main courses. Do not eat the meat.
No, definitely not.
The meat is not safe.
Yeah. So then Sam and Dean go to their room and they see a couple next door who are making out, and Dean giggles and Sam says, what, you 12? And Dean says, I'm young at heart.
Yeah.
And they enter the room and Dean points out how nice the hotel is again and that there's porn. He also points out the chocolates on the pillow.
But this is how we know that he's okay, because he's after food and he's interested in sex again. So he's all right. He's recovering from before when he was so empty that famine was like, he's
dead inside.
You're so dead inside. Dean says, whoa, Casa Erotica 13 on demand. And Sam's like, and he goes, what? And I wrote, what is a 4-star hotel doing advertising Casa Erotica? Like, someone explain to me. I've stayed in a 4-star hotel before. You know what they don't have? Porno adverts.
Porn, yeah.
Sam, meanwhile, was like, isn't this place in the middle of nowhere? And he's like, so? And Sam's like, what is a 4-star hotel doing on a no-star highway? And I was like, that was not my question, but yes, also valid, Sam.
No, I've realised there's a theme, Joy. Like, whenever one of them has, like, spidey senses about something, they're always right, but the other one never believes them.
The other one is just like, everything looks good right now. Just let me have this.
Yeah.
Can I just have one nice thing?
I just want to eat the chocolate and watch the porn.
Yeah. Dean. So then they hear a honeymooner couple getting it on. And Dean's kind of like laughing about it until, with a particularly powerful thrust, one assumes the brick wall of the room gets smashed in on the other side, basically knocking their TV off. And they give each other this look like, what fresh hell is this? So then they go into the room to investigate, and they're calling out, and Dean finds this engagement ring on the floor. It's a little bit ominous. And then they go downstairs to ask what's going on. Like, they heard something. It was not right.
Yeah.
And Chad says that they were honeymooners and they checked out, and is there something the matter? And Sam says
I still don't understand. Like, did they just disappear?
They went and they disappeared into soup, probably. They disappeared into not tomato soup, I imagine.
It's their eyes in the eyeballs.
Their eyeballs. Those are the eyeballs.
Ew.
So Sam says it seemed like they were in the middle of something, and he laughs. And Dean's like, yeah, it's kind of weird for honeymooners to check out without this. And then he shows the ring. And Chaz says, Chad says, "Oh dear, I'll just put that right in the lost and found. Don't you worry. Is there anything else that I can help you with?" He's like too chipper. You know what I mean? Suspiciously Stepford wife chipper. And he says, no, we're good. And Chad says, super fantastic. And Sam, as they're walking away, turns to Dean and just quietly says, creepy. And Dean says,
was creepy.
Broke the needle. All right, well, I'll scope out the joint and you keep an eye on Norman Bates over here. I mean, one night off. Is that too much to ask? And I was like, yes, Dean. Yes, it is.
It's because you said it out loud, Dean.
He was like, everything is good. There's pie. Immediately jinxed it.
You wanted a night off. You said it out loud.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it's probably the angels.
Fucking everything up as per usual. So we hear a slicing sound as Sam is following Chad, and then there's blood on his neck, and it matches what we saw happen earlier with Dean.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see it actively happen, we just saw his neck bleeding. But then this is where we get suspicious, more suspicious than we already are.
Yeah, because they both had the necks cut.
Yeah.
So then we see Dean exit like the lift, the elevator, and pulls out an EMF detector, and Dean passes a room with its door open, and we see an elephant holding a towel, and Dean realizes what he just saw and takes a few steps back to look again, and then he sees a man wrapping a towel around his torso, and the man says, "This ain't no peep show, man." And I was like, hey, you're the one dressing with the door open. And also Dean's face is hilarious, like he's so shocked.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, what was in the pie?
Like, what? I just saw an elephant.
I was so happy when I saw the EMF detector because it's been like a full minute since we've seen it, and I was like, the EMF nostalgia. Yeah.
We love the EMF detectors.
We do.
So then we cut to another room and see a man putting a necklace on a woman, the same woman from before who Dean tried to hit on, and he calls her beautiful.
She is beautiful. That's fair. Mm-hmm. So basically, this is Balder, Kali, and Chad, aka Mercury.
Yeah.
So Balder asks if everything's ready, and Mercury, who's coming in and kind of interrupted their make-out session, / Kali telling him to stop being sweet because it's gross. She just like hates him. It's so funny. Balder asks about the Winchesters, and Chad says suspicious but under control. And Kali says, you have their blood. And Chad says, of course I do. I'm quick. Boys never even knew what hit him. And Kali says, thank you, Mercury. And Balder says, let's get this show on the road. So then we cut to the hotel lobby, and there's lounge music playing as Sam and Dean enter. And the room is basically empty except for them. And Sam says, an elephant. And Dean says, yeah. And Sam says, like, an elephant. And Dean says, like, full on babar. And Sam says, so what the hell where is everybody? And then he tries to open the lobby doors, but they are locked. And Dean's like, oh no, we're locked in, aren't we? And he's like, so what? The roaches check in, they don't check out. I think there's 2 Forbidden Bug references. Okay. And Sam says, think about how we got here, the detour on I-90, the freaking hurricane. And Dean's like, we were led here. And Sam says, like, rats in a maze. And he's so angry about it. Which I don't blame him. It was just really funny.
No.
And this is when they go exploring to try to figure out what the hell. So they go into the kitchen. And we see the clearly not tomato soup because of the shade of red. Right? So Dean's like, please be tomato soup. Please be tomato soup. And you could tell that he's traumatized already. He lifts the ladle and the eyeballs float up into it. And then he just says, motel hell.
No, not eyeballs.
Yeah, that's where we get the motel hell movie.
We had
reference.
the cockroaches and the eyeballs within like
seconds of
10 seconds. Yeah,
we were not
both
okay.
of our fears.
Did not like. Do not approve. So Sam sees that there's a locked freezer and walks over towards it, and it has this like slow sense of something bad is definitely in the freezer.
And we get a jump scare.
Get a nice jump scare. This man screaming, help us, get us out, and leaps forward.
It's the buffet guy. Poor buffet guy.
Buffet man is not having a good time. So Sam starts trying to pick the lock, and Dean tells him to hurry up. And Sam's like, I'm going as fast as I can. And Dean just goes, There's somebody behind me, isn't there?
That made me laugh so much.
It's so funny. And then they get grabbed by these guards. And
he's so mad that his day's been ruined.
he's just like, he's just like, it's getting worse and worse and worse. There's definitely someone behind. He's just like, oh, motherfucker. It's so funny. He's so mad.
So this is when they then get taken into the ballroom and we meet all the different gods.
So, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary babes, what I decided was, if I did the lore for the gods, I would have to do the lore for like the whole podcast would just be me waxing lyrical about every single one of these gods and their attributes. We know what a nerd I am. So I was like, I'm just not going to do that. But I did pick one god that I wanted to talk about because he is so misrepresented. Like, most of them they're like adjacent to their stories. You know what I mean? Like, Odin's kind of vaguely on brand for Odin.
Yeah.
Balder is trying to save the world. Balder is a good guy. I feel like canonically he should already be dead by now, but fine, whatever. Kali's trying to save the world from demons. It sort of vaguely tracks. Vaguely, right? So there's like vague stuff. But this deity, Zao Shen, is wildly mischaracterized, though. Like, wildly mischaracterized. So in the episode, it seems like he's some kind of like death-related, like war. He comes across as kind of like a Chinese version of Odin, the way that Odin's portrayed in this episode. Like, they seem to be kind of on the same vibe. But when I looked up who he actually is, he's referred to as the kitchen god. And there's a lot of different names and titles that are attached to him, including the stove god. And he is, according to Wikipedia anyway, so take it with a grain of salt, the most important of a plethora of Chinese domestic gods that protect the hearth and family. The kitchen god is recognized in Chinese folk religion, Chinese mythology, and Taoism. He is also celebrated throughout the Sinosphere. So he is literally called the Stove Master. And it is believed that on the 23rd day of the 12th lunar solar month, just before Chinese New Year, the kitchen deity returns to heaven to report the activities of every household over the past year to you. Sorry, I'm going to try really hard, guys. Forgive me if I butcher this. Yu Huang Da Di, the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor, the Emperor of the Heavens, either rewards or punishes a family based on Zhao Jun's yearly report. Sometimes they call him June, sometimes it's pronounced slightly differently or written slightly differently because there's variations of his name based on the specific title. But he's like the spirit of the kitchen. And basically, there are a lot of different versions of his background story. But everyone sort of agrees on, from what I can see, in terms of his worship, the only thing that I can think of to compare him to is this like Mr. and Mrs. Claus, because he has a wife as well. And she writes down everything that everyone's doing so that he has a list of who's naughty and who's nice. And they go off and they, like, he goes, specifically him, he goes to the Jade Emperor and said, well, this guy was a petty little bitch. Or this woman was amazing. And they are either rewarded or punished by the Jade Emperor, depending on what's said. And like they will even sometimes have a paper representative of him and smear his mouth with honey. And the idea is so that he'll say something nice, or so that his mouth gets glued shut if they've been bad. Like, just shh. I read that. I was like, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, so that's nothing like
here
he is in this episode.
Nothing like this episode's portrayal of him. I didn't really find anything violent or anything about this. Like, he's just, from everything that I have read here, which obviously, like, you know, it's just easily accessible and translated so that I can read it. So it's very helpful for me. Clearly not writing a dissertation on it. I'm not an expert. But from everything that I can find, he is such a nice guy. He's like a little Santa. And so, like, it's a wild interpretation of the text by the writers. Like, this one, they went fully left field. They just said, throw out the book. we're gonna cut our own. And that is the lore for this episode.
Oh, did they just look up Chinese god and then just get the first one and then just make him up?
I have no idea, but Zao Shen is not Zao Shen. He is not Zhao Jun. He's just, I don't know what they're doing here. I don't know.
No. Okay, well.
If anyone from within the cultures, because he's not only in Chinese culture, he's in other cultures too. If anyone from any of the cultures who is familiar with him wants to let us know if there's another variation that I haven't been able to find in my research here, please do let me know, because it's hard to find English writing about him, so I was somewhat limited.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I couldn't find anything. He seems like, honestly, he seems like Kitchen Santa. Like, he seems like a lot of fun. He seems like a nice guy. Mm-hmm. He's not at all this, like, what do we do? Kill him guy?
Oh, well, that was interesting because, yeah, he's completely different in this. It's like a war god, like you say.
Yeah. Okay, so Sam and Dean are dragged into the grand ballroom by the men. And we see a group of people standing around wearing name tags. And Mercury says dinner is served. And Mercury's Chad. Chad is Mercury. And the handsome man we saw before is Balder. And that tracks with mythology because Balder was supposed to be very handsome. Ladies and gentlemen, our guests of honor have arrived. And so then he goes on to give a speech that he's never seen this many gods under one roof. And Sam to Dean is like, gods? And Balder lays down some ground rules and said, no slaughtering each other, curb your wrath, and keep your hands off the local virgins. We're trying to keep a low profile. And Sam to Dean then says, oh, we are so screwed. And I was like, you're not virgins, you're fine. Probably. I thought it was funny. So Balder goes on to say that the Judeo-Christian apocalypse is looming over them, and that while they've had their disagreements in the past, now is the time to come together, basically. And Zao Shen says, what do we do? Kill them? And Ganesh is like, kill him. What, so the angels can bring them back again? And then Odin chimes in and says, I don't know what everybody's getting so worked up about. Just a couple of angels having a slap fight. There's no Armageddon. Everybody knows when the world comes to an end, the great serpent, this word is so hard, Jormungandr rises up, and I myself will be eaten by a big wolf. And I'm like, he's very excited to be chowed down by Fenris. Like, he's happy about this. Oh, it's Jormungandr, I think, or Gander. Jormungandr. And Zao Shen is just like, here we go. Like, making out that Odin is just kind of like a blowhard. That was kind of funny. And then Odin gets really annoyed and makes fun of the world being carried on the back of a turtle. And he's like, don't mock my world, turtle. And I was like, yeah. And also being a Terry Pratchett fan, I was like, that is the great Atuin, which, like, in the other mythology, there's loads of mythologies with the world turtle. But, and I love them all. I think the world turtle is amazing.
I was trying to work out how I knew that, and that's why
it's great Atuin. Terry Pratchett fans, it's great Atuin.
That's exactly what that's where I got it from.
I was with Zao Shen. I was like, how dare you? How dare you take his name in vain? Do not mock the great Atuin. I'm not sure what his name is in the other mythologies, but in fictional Terry Pratchett land, it's Atuin. So Odin's like, what are you going to do about it? And Zao Shen says, I'm going to send you packing to Valhalla. And he's like, you watch your mouth when you talk to me, boy. And Zao Shen says, boy, I'm older than you. And Odin says, no one's ever proved that.
They were just having a fight.
Yeah, they're basically just all like having a kind of like it's kind of like a boy showdown. That one, it's like men being like, no, I'm the biggest, baddest god. I am the oldest. I am the most powerful. That little section there. Again, very, very far from everything that we just learned about Zao Shen. Doesn't seem very likely. Kali says that they need to get themselves organized, basically, and that it's going to end in blood and that it's them or us, basically. And Mercury says, we haven't even tried talking to them. And then he starts choking up blood, and Balder stops Kali from killing Mercury outright. He's like, Kali! And Kali says, who asked you? And I was like, So then we see Gabriel coming in, not wearing a name tag, and saying, can't we all just get along? And Balder calls him Loki. And we're like, oh, snap. He's going around pretending to be Loki. Okay. And Gabriel says, Sam, Dean, it's always wrong place, worst time with you mutton heads, huh?
That was funny.
Yeah. And then he calls Ganesh the elephant in the room, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that joke.
Yeah.
So then he talks about the apocalypse and says that the adults need to have a conversation. And then he snaps his fingers, and Sam and Dean disappear into their room. And Dean says, okay, did that? Holy crap! And Sam's like, yeah, tell me about it. By the way, next time I say let's keep driving, let's keep driving. And Dean's like, okay, yeah, next time.
Next time.
Yeah.
There was a funny bit that I just wanted to point out is when when all the gods are arguing amongst themselves and Sam and Dean try to sneak away. That was really funny. Yeah, so then Gabriel appears in their hotel room again, doesn't he? And Dean tells him to bite him, and Gabriel says, maybe later, big boy.
Oh my gosh, dude, this whole sequence is so funny. Because Sam's like, what are we gonna do? And Dean's like, I guess we try to rescue the people in the freezer and get rid of a few of these freaks along the way if we're lucky. And Gabriel just appears and says, and when are you ever lucky? And Dean says, well, you know what? Bite me, Gabriel. And Gabriel says, maybe later, big boy. And Dean says, I should have known. I mean, this had your stink all over it from the jump. And Gabriel says, you think I'm behind this? Please, I'm the Costner to your Houston. I'm here to save your ass. And Dean says, you want to pull us out of the fire? And Gabriel says, bingo. Those guys are either going to dust you or use you as bait. Either way, you're uber boned. And Dean says, because it's the biting references and the uber boned, just back, like this entire thing is a double entendre.
There's a lot of boning going on.
It's so funny. Dean says, wow, because a couple of months ago, you were telling us that we need to play our roles. You're uber boning us. He literally says, you're uber boning us. And then they have this back and forth about like how they're going to do things. And basically, Sam and Dean threaten to expose his identity as an angel to the other gods. And Dean's like, okay, well then how about you do what we say, or we tell the Legion of Doom, which is a DC reference. I was so happy, Laura, about your secret identity. They don't seem like a real pro-angel kind of crowd. And Gabriel says, I'll take your voices away. And Dean says, we'll write it down. And Gabriel says, I'll cut off your hands. And Dean says, well then people are going to be asking, why are you guys running around with no hands? He's so funny. And Gabriel goes, fine. Literally, Dean just annoyed him into letting them do things their way. Only Dean Winchester would stand there and be like, they're gonna wonder why we don't have any hands, aren't they? You haven't thought this through.
That was funny. I mean, their whole back and forth is just hilarious.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard, honestly. Hard.
He throughout that as well, he says that it's a blood spell that Carly's done on them, and that's why they can't get away. And that's why he was getting the blood. And Gabriel also mentions that he had a thing with Carly.
Yeah.
And that's why he's here, really. So Gabriel then goes to Carly's hotel room to seduce her, and she tells him to leave because she's moved on. And he's like, Boulder, really? And she says that he's uncomplicated. And then we cut to Sam and Dean walking through the lobby, and they hear a man screaming. And it's this poor buffet guy again. The gods drag him across the counter, and Dean's initial reaction is to try and rescue this guy, which was, hot. But Sam holds him back and says it's too late, and then they kill him. He's so pretty, whenever they're just instantly protective and want to save people, I'm like, oh.
My thirst trap was actually Dean being sarcastic to Gabriel. He's like, they're gonna wonder why we don't have any hands.
I don't think I had one, but this is mine if I forget later.
Okay.
So then Sam and Dean tries to get the rest of the people out of the freezer, but then they're attacked. And Carly kisses Gabriel and he tries to steal the vials of Sam and Dean's blood, but she realizes what he's doing and cuts his neck. Sam is grabbed by one of the gods and Dean stakes it, saving him. Carly then tells Gabriel because it's going back and forth. Carly tells Gabriel he must take her for a fool and uses his actual name instead of Loki, so she knows who he is. She shows his blood on her hand and says that he's bound to her forever. And this is where we then get the random ghost faces intermission. I was like, what was that? Is this an actual ad just put into the middle of the episode for some reason?
It was
There's
amazing,
no context.
and I loved it.
It's not brought up.
It was very out of context.
Yeah, because then it's literally we're just straight back at the ballroom again. I was like, what was that? That was so weird. So Gabriel's asking Carly how long she has known, as in like who he is, and she says long enough. And Dean sarcastically asks Gabriel how the rescue's going, and he just gives him a fake smile and looks away. Carly tells everyone that the trickster tried to trick them, and she then sits on his lap. She then sits on his lap and tries to feel him up, but she's just trying to get his Archangel's blade. Gabriel then admits who he is. Oh, he says something about, so I got wings like Kotex, which made me laugh. that was funny. But he explains that he's still right about Lucifer, though. Carly doesn't believe him and calls him a spy. He says he's not a spy and he's trying to save them.
Yeah. This line I thought was really interesting. This was really good. Carly says, your story, not ours. Westerners, I swear. The sheer arrogance. You think you're the only ones on earth? You pillage and you butcher in your God's name, but you're not the only religion and he's not the only God. And now you think you can just rip the planet apart? You're wrong. There are billions of us, and we were here first. If anyone gets to end this world, it's me. I'm sorry. And then that's when
she's got a point.
Yeah, that's when she stabs Gabriel.
Yeah, she stabs him with his own blade. And we think she's killed him, and everyone's horrified.
Yep.
But then we find out in a minute that it was fake. But the angel exorcism thing looked really real, and I wasn't sure how he could fake that. Like, I was convinced to start with.
He's the master of illusion.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. And then, so Carly says to everyone, like, she's basically like, look, they can die, so we can kill Lucifer. Dean then breaks the shocked silence with the Evil Dead reference. So he says, all right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. And Sam's face is hilarious here. He kind of double takes as Dean says it, like, what are you doing? You're going to make it worse. Stop being yourself right now.
That is exactly what his face says. What he actually says out loud is, are you out of your mind? Dean is completely out of his mind.
Dean, stop being so Dean right now.
Stop Deaning against gods. Dean's like, nope, got a Dean.
Tone your Dean down, Dean.
He can't help himself. And he goes off on a huge rant about how he'll kill them all.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Dean says I'm out of options. Now, on any other given day, I'd be doing my damnedest to kill you, you filthy murdering chimps. But hey, desperate times. So even though I'd love nothing better than to slit your throats, you dicks, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you ice the devil. And then we can all get back to ganking each other like normal. You want Lucifer? Well, dude's not in the yellow pages, but me and Sam, we can get him here.
And then is this at the end of here, he kind of like turns away from them, and his face is kind of like, oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. It's so good.
Yeah, and then he says, we can either take on the devil together, or you lame ass bitches can eat me. Literally. He's Bart Simpson.
Eat me. He's Joey Tribbiani and he's Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
What the hell?
Yeah. So then this obviously works because the hostages get let go and Dean makes sure they get out safely. So he's like outside now. And while he's outside, Dean hears Gabriel calling to him from the back of the Impala where he's hiding. Because my initial notes here was like, oh, it was a fake knife. Gabriel is okay and hilarious.
Yep. I love that part. And then, so Dean's like, I thought you were dead. And Gabriel says, "You think I'd give Kali my real sword? That thing can kill me." So he literally planted a fake angel blade on himself for her to stab him with because he'd predicted it. And then he says that he basically made it out of soda cans. Oh my god, I laugh so hard, but it's just like the outrage of him being like, that thing could kill me. I would never.
It's so funny. This is where I had in my notes about that if they could be friends in different circumstances, because this just back and forth was so funny.
Yeah. And then Gabriel tells Dean that Kali likes him, and I was like, that actually tracks because they are both protectors of the innocent. They're both trying to save the world. I thought that part was kind of cool. And then Dean tells him to hand over the real blade, or better yet, sack up and help us take down Lucifer. And Gabriel's like, you cannot be serious. And Dean says, deadly. I'm like, oh no, that's foreshadowing. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And Gabriel says, since when are you butt buddies with a bunch of monsters? That's all they are to you, aren't they? And Dean's like, all right, Sam was right. It's nuts, but it's the best idea I've heard. So unless you have a better one. And Gabriel says, well, good luck with that. I'm blowing Jonestown. Those lemmings want to run off a cliff. That's their business. And Dean says, I see right through you. You know that? The smart ass shell, the whole I could give a crap thing. Believe me, it takes one to know one. And Gabriel's like, yeah, is that so? And Dean says, yeah. And maybe those freaks in there aren't your blood, but they are your family. And Gabriel's like, they just stabbed me in the friggin' heart. And Dean says, maybe, but you still give a crap about them, don't you? And Gabriel's like, Dean. And Dean says, now they're going to die in there without you. And Gabriel's like, I can't kill my brother. And Dean says, can't or want. And then he doesn't say
they
anything.
are the same.
Yeah. And he says, that's what I thought. Yeah.
They are the same. Neither of them wants to kill their brother.
Yeah. And then we cut to the ballroom, and Kali's like, so you're going to summon Lucifer. And Sam says, sort of. I just need you to squeegee some stuff from my ribs and he'll come running. And Kali's like, breaking them would be easier. And Dean walks in and says, show's over. Sword's a fake. And Gabriel, he's still kicking. I hate to break it to you, sister, but you've been tricked. Tricked by the trickster? Who would have thought? Who could have predicted?
And then this is where we see Lucifer. So we cut to the front desk and Lucifer rings the bell and tells Mercury that he's checking in. And, like early on, I was really excited about all the Lucifer stuff because I thought I was going to find him hot. Like, he just looks dead.
He looks extremely dead in this episode.
I suppose it's just he's in his decaying vessel.
He's in his very decaying vessel at this point. And I wrote Mercury, who's like the embodiment of intelligence, is going to call Lucifer. And then I just went...
Yeah, so he called him, so they didn't need to squeegee the stuff off.
Yeah, Mercury
Sam's
was
ribs,
like, hey, Lucifer, let's have a conversation. I said, no, vetoed. That is so dumb. Mercury would never.
Like, oh yeah, come and kill all my friends, and your vessel's here, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, how did that conversation even go? How did he even get a message to him?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that was silliness.
Flagged. Yeah, so Lucifer basically slags off pagans.
Yeah.
And says that Mercury is worse than humans because he sold out his friends and he snaps his neck.
Yep.
I do love his sass.
Yeah. The Mother May I part is really funny. And then I was like, you could read Lucifer in this episode as a metaphor for Christian nationalism. Especially with a lot of the things that he says.
Yeah.
And it works very well. I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe. The writers are very thoughtful with like being like, this is very bad. Let's not do this.
Yeah. So in the ballroom, all the lights start flickering and Boulder asks Kali what's happening. They hear screaming from the corridor and we see Lucifer killing all of the gods. And he looks really menacing when he's just standing there and the lights are flickering with all the dead bodies around him. That was cool. That was a cool shot.
It was scary,
Yeah. Back in the ballroom, Sam consents Lucifer and tells everyone it's him. And Dean asks them to zap them out of there, and Boulder says they can't. Lucifer walks in and says, of course you can't. You didn't say, Mother, may I? And then addresses Sam and Dean, saying it's good to see them again. Sam and Dean look terrified, especially Sam at this point.
Yeah.
Boulder then decides to square up to Lucifer, and that goes really well for him because Lucifer sticks his arm right through him, killing him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you think you own the planet? What gives you the right? And he confronts Lucifer and he basically stabs his arm right through him. Yeah. And he's like, no one gives us the right. We take it. And I was like, ooh.
Yep.
That was scary. He's scary. Oh, and then, so yeah, Lucifer throws Balder's body to the ground, and Carly, she like gets really angry and like sets on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, that was awesome. That part, I was like,
yeah, that was cool.
Finish him.
Yeah,
that's honestly my biggest gripe with this episode is that they didn't make Carly powerful enough to kick the shit out of. Like, she kind of does, but not as much as she should have done. Instead, she gets rescued by these mortals. That is so dumb, and
she ends up being a damsel in distress. Yeah, that was annoying.
Like the worst. No, 1,000 times no. That is terrible. No,
she would definitely have been able to.
She should have been able to absolutely smack the shit out of Lucifer, honestly. Mm-hmm. So this is my favorite part. My favorite scene of the whole thing with the DVD. My favorite thing ever in life. Because Sam and Dean jump for cover behind an overturned table, right? And then we see Lucifer and Kali still fighting. And Sam turns to Dean and is like, are you okay? And then Gabriel slides in from nowhere and acts like Sam was asking him this question and says, not really, but better late than never, huh? And then he hands Dean a copy of Casa Erotica 13 on DVD and says, guard this with your life. And then Lucifer is about to like stomp on Kali, but then is blown back through the grand ballroom doors by Gabriel with his blade in his hand going, Lucy, I'm home. And then says, not this time. And then rescues Kali and tells her to leave with Sam and Dean, basically. He's like, guys, get her out of here.
Yeah.
And then this is where I'm like, wow, Lucifer is being super, like, it's not surprising that Lucifer is being evil, because obviously Lucifer is evil. But this is where like the whole white nationalism flavor really, really comes through. Because he says, over girl, Gabriel, really? I mean, I knew you were slumming, but I hope you didn't catch anything. And it's the way he says that line about Kali, and I was like, ugh, that's horrific. That is such an evil thing to say. That's gross. And then Gabriel says, Lucifer, you're my brother and I love you, but you're a great big bag of dicks.
That was really funny.
And Lucifer is like taken aback completely. He's like, wait, what did you just say to me? He cannot believe his own ears. And Gabriel says, look at yourself. Boo-hoo, daddy was mean to me, so I'm going to smash up all his toys. And honestly, I've never loved Gabriel as much as I love him in this episode. So
that's why I liked him.
Because as soon as they make you love someone, you know they're going to murder them.
Yeah. This is where I put about the brotherly banter being good.
Yeah. Lucifer says, watch your tone. And Gabriel says, play the victim all you want, but you and me, we know the truth. Dad loved you best. More than Michael, more than me. Then he brought the new baby home and you couldn't handle it. So this is all just one big temper tantrum. Time to grow up. And then we cut to the outside, and this made me so mad. Kali's like, I'm not getting in that thing, and Dean says, just get in the car, princess. Dean, riders, I smack you. So Sam opens the door for Kali like a gentleman. Thank you, Sam. And then gets in the car. Sam would never speak to a goddess that way. Dino. Dean, you're my favorite and always be a Dean girl, but damn, that was annoying. So then Lucifer, we cut back to Lucifer and Gabriel fighting. And Lucifer saying, if you're doing this for Michael, and Gabriel says, screw him, if he were standing here, I'd shiv his ass too. I was like, damn. And Lucifer calls
He's had enough of his brothers.
Yeah, Lucifer calls him disloyal. And Gabriel says, oh, I'm loyal to them. And Lucifer says, who are these so-called gods? And Gabriel says, to people, Lucifer, people. And Lucifer says, you're willing to die for a pile of cockroaches? The second time.
Gabriel loves the humans.
Gabriel says, because Dad was right. They are better than us. And Lucifer says they are broken, flawed abortions. And Gabriel says, damn right they're flawed, but a lot of them try to do better, to forgive. And that the way he delivers that line, like he's such a talented actor. Like that part is so beautiful. It's so like you've got like tears in your eyes. You're emotionally moved. You're just like, oh. And then he immediately follows it up with, and you should see the spearmint rhino. And then he goes back to being heroic, and he says, I've been riding the pine a long time, but I'm in the game now, and I'm not on your side or Michael's. I'm on theirs. And we know that means like us, and it means the Winchesters, and it's just so heartwarming and beautiful. And then Lucifer, now this is also well acted, I have to say, because he has tears in his eyes, basically. He says, brother, don't make me do this. And Gabriel says, no one makes us do anything. And then Lucifer says, I know you think you're doing the right thing, Gabriel, but I know where your heart truly lies. Because we see Gabriel on one side of Lucifer, and then we see him sneaking up on Lucifer with the angel blade from behind to stab him.
Second Gabriel.
And Lucifer knows which is which and turns around and stabs the real Gabriel in the chest, which is horrible. And Lucifer says, here, amateur hocus pocus, don't forget you learned all your tricks from me, little brother. And then Gabriel dies, and that part is so sad. Yeah. Even Lucifer's sad. Even Lucifer was like, this was
he did look upset. So is Gabriel actually dead now? Oh, I was like, I hope he'll come back. But we did see the wings and everything this time.
Yeah, we did see the wings.
Uh-oh.
So then we see a title card. Red scrolling credits. Cheesy porno music plays. And the titles read, all performers in this film are over the age of 18, have consented to being photographed, and have provided proof of age 18 USC section 2257. And then the title card pops up, Casa Erotica 13. And then we get the like stereotypical bound to go wow wow kind of music. And we hear the interior monologue of the Casa Erotica woman, who remains nameless. But she's saying, dear diary, being a high-powered business president is super fun, but so exhausting.
Business president. That made me laugh so much. Business president.
Sometimes I just need to relax. I need Casa Erotica. And then there's a knock at the door, and the voice says, room service. And then we see that Sam and Dean are watching the Casa Erotica 13 DVD that Gabriel gave them.
Yeah, and just out in the middle of nowhere with the laptop on top of the car.
Yep. She says, come in. And Sam says, Gabriel wanted you to guard this with your life. And Dean says, maybe he's a fan. It's a good one. So Dean's obviously watched this before, right?
Shut up, Dean.
The door opens on the hotel room scene, and Gabriel appears wearing a brutally fake mustache and a kind of like waiter's outfit, and he says, I've got the kielbasa you ordered. And she says, ooh, Polish? And he says, Hungarian. And then he throws the dish onto the mantle and cuts away, and you can hear the sound of Gabriel like making out with this woman. And then we cut back to Sam and Dean, and they look really disturbed. And then we go back to Sam's laptop, and Gabriel is passionately making out with this woman while feeling her up and down. And they're both making the sounds. And Sam's like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, well, Sam, the birds and the bees. John should have had this talk with you. I feel like you should know what's going on. But then, anyway, so we cut back to the movie, and Gabriel turns to the camera, takes the mustache off, and breaks the fourth wall of the film by looking directly at them, right? And us. He says, Sam, Dean, you're probably wondering what the hell is going on. Well, if you're watching this, I'm dead. Oh, please, stop sobbing. It's embarrassing for all of us. And Sam and Dean just look at each other like confused. Just deadpan. There's no crying. They're just like, what the hell? Without me, you've got zero shot at killing Lucifer. Sorry. But you can trap him. The cage you sprung Lucifer from, it's still down there. And maybe, just maybe, you can shove his ass back in. Not that it'll be easy. You gotta get the cage open, trick my bro back into it, and avoid Michael and the God Squad. But hey, details, right? And here's the big secret. Lucifer himself doesn't even know. The key to the cage, it's out there. Actually, it's keys, plural, 4 keys. Well, 4 rings from the horsemen. You get them all, you got the cage. Can't say I'm betting on you boys, but hey, I've been wrong before. And Dean, you were right. I was afraid to stand up to my brother. Not anymore. And then he stands up. So then he says, so this is me standing up. And they're looking at each other. And then we come back to Gabriel on the laptop. And then he says, and this is me lying down. And then they go off on to the things that people do
to finish
in the
film.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is interesting then. So they can maybe trap Lucifer, and it's really handy because they already have half the keys they need.
Yeah. So there's famine and war that they've already taken out, and we see that in flashbacks. And then Dean's like, horseman, huh? That's 2 down. Collect all 4. My head was like, Pokemon?
Yeah, same. And then we don't have to do this scene. I don't like it.
Yeah, let's skip it. We'll just describe it vaguely.
Ew, Pestilence is disgusting. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I did write it down. I'll have a go. So we then see Pestilence, and he's gross. So a car pulls up outside a general store, and we cut to inside. The clerk. Do you say clerk or clerk in America?
Clerk.
The clerk reads the newspaper behind the counter.
Laura, why? It's spelled CLERK. Why are you saying Clark?
I don't know.
Why do you do that? It doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, the clerk is reading the newspaper behind the counter. The store is empty, and there are flies flying around. And a fly lands on his paper. He goes to swat it, and then Pestilence enters the store. He appears to be very sick, obviously. He sneezes, rubs his gross, phlegmy hands all over everything as he searches for what he wants in the shop. More flies are accumulating around him as he does this. He grabs a box of Fluorest and asks the clerk if the stuff will make him drowsy, as he has a lot of driving to do. He answers, and Pestilence walks over to the counter to pay. He sneezes directly in this man's face, and I nearly threw up because that was disgusting. My initial notes I wrote, ew, he is so rank. Why are his hands covered in phlegm? This is so disgusting. I hate it.
Yeah.
So he then exits the store, and we realise he's not actually as sick as he was making out. He gets back in his car and drives away, and we see his license plate says sick and tired.
Yeah.
Which was funny.
Yeah.
He drives off, he smiles, and flies accumulate around him, and we can hear loud buzzing. And the fly CGI here was as crap as the demon dust. Just saying.
Was it as good as the CGI bees and bugs?
It was kind of like that as well.
Like
I think it was I think it was actually probably worse than that. So yeah, fly dust. Don't like it.
I honestly didn't notice. I was too horrified by the body horror of the phlegm and the stuff.
Ew, it's so disgusting.
His emotional damage, honestly, like just from how disturbingly gross it was. The actor's really good who plays Pestilence. He's like so good at playing evil and also being super disgusting. The scenes from a horror perspective are really great. But yeah, from watching it, horrible. I'm so glad that I was not eating at the time. I think I would have literally thrown up.
I would rather see all the blood and guts all over the wall.
Yeah,
like that doesn't bother me as much as like phlegm and stuff.
Yeah, it's awful because they did this to us in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid with Old Woman Ezra.
The old woman.
Sarcastic quotes, Old Woman Ezra. And now they're doing it to us with this guy.
That was disgusting as well when she was like dribbling all over Sam. Ew.
They've got an obsession with phlegm recently.
Yeah, I would rather see blood and gore and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
I found a couple of things on IMDb about Pestilence. So apparently he's driving the wrong coloured car because his car is pale green and it should have been white. Apparently. So pale green was the colour of the horse that Death rode. The horsemen and colours of their horses or cars, in this case, are as follows. So Pestilence is supposed to be white, war is red, which it was, famine is black, and death was ashen or pale green as a corpse. So that's what that person said on IMDb.
I always assumed that Death's horse was white because they always say a pale horse and a pale rider and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my brain's like, green, clearly that's white.
Yeah. I always thought Death was white too.
Yeah.
And also the actor who plays Pestilence, so Matt Frewer, he was this is our Stephen King reference of the episode.
Oh.
He starred in the 1990s miniseries adaptation of The Stand.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And in the stand, there's a battle between heaven and hell taking place after most of the Earth's population has been wiped out by an extremely aggressive
virus thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I love The
actually,
Stand.
that's a cool reference, actually. Okay, I allow the snot now. It's horrific, but I'll allow it because it's a Stephen King reference. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. That's really cool. I did not know that.
No. The Stand is probably one of my favorite books. It's a really long book, and I don't know if I just read it. Well, I mean, I love Stephen King, obviously, we know this, but I think I've read The Stand at just the perfect time in my life, and I just was engrossed by it, and I just loved it so much.
I've started
to read it again.
Audiobook version of it, but I haven't finished it because I was really liking it, but Nick was disgusted by it, and he was like, "Please stop listening to this." So I have to start listening to it on my headphones or when he's not here.
I think what I don't know if it was the beginning of this or just what I've always liked, but I really, and I think I've mentioned this before as well, I really like apocalypse stuff, and I like, it's like the like immediate how it affects people straight away kind of stuff. Because I think I've mentioned before, like I really liked The Walking Dead in the early seasons where it's like it's just happened or happening. You
like the like gritty realism, I think.
Yeah. And then I don't like it as much when it gets like, you know, it's just normal that everyone's living in this new world. I then kind of lost interest, but it's why I like disaster movies and stuff as well. But yeah.
There you go. Fun facts about Laura. True crime, apocalypses, disaster movies.
Yeah. So, did you have anything to say to the end of this episode?
Not really, except for I want Gabriel back.
Yeah. I just assumed he'd come back at some point, but obviously not. Yeah, so I also want to #bring Gabriel back.
Yeah.
I was just liking him.
You were just liking him. Just now.
Yeah.
No, they make him so amazing and heroic and also hilarious in this episode. And it's the perfect combination of things. He's impossible to resist. I feel like if you don't love him, there's something wrong. Because what's not to love?
Loves humans. Yeah.
He's amazing. What did you write down for villain hot or not?
I wrote, I didn't find any of the gods hot. Lucifer would be hot if his face wasn't decaying. Pestilence is rank.
I just wrote not. Because, like, Kali is not a villain. She's trying to save the world. The gods are actually trying to save the world for once in Supernatural. They're actually trying to do the right thing. So, like, admittedly, they're supposed to be villains because of the whole horror flip, but I'm choosing to ignore that. And, like, so I don't really see Kali as a villain or Balder. So I thought none of them. So I was like, okay, so Lucifer has to be the villain of the episode. He's not hot this episode. He's a rotting, decaying, ashen, fucked up looking dude. He's also super racist. Just like horrible this episode. So I was like, no, not today, Satan. Literally, not today, Satan.
That's got to be an out of context quote.
Literally, not today, Satan. Not a thirst trap. What was your episode scare rating?
An 8. I felt Lucifer was scary when he was killing everyone. And this episode has set up the rest of this storyline to be like really scary and epic.
That's a very fair answer. I wrote 0.
We always have such difference.
I feel like I've just watched too many Evil Dead movies. Like, Evil Dead has been my bread and butter, so this episode actually didn't get to me. I'm trying to think. I don't think I found it scary the first time I watched it. I found it really enjoyable / occasionally frustrating.
Yeah.
But genuinely mostly hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
and likable the first time that I watched it. So I don't think that like there's too much tongue-in-cheek humor, and gore doesn't really get to me that much. Body horror does, so like the part at the very end is horrific. But there was too much comedy relief for me to be like, oh no, it's scary. So I didn't find it scary.
Yeah, that's fair. Favorite quotes?
Shazam us out of here, would you? We can't. Of course you can't. You didn't say, Mother, may I? And then Gabriel saying, no, not really. Better late than never, huh? Guard this with your life. Lucy, I'm home. I love that one so much. Like, honestly, there's like the vast majority of the script is probably my favorite quotes. Like, we will be here literally all day. The whole Casa Erotica scene on the DVD is so fucking funny, honestly.
Business president.
Yeah, it's business president is hilarious. The back and forth where Dean's like, okay, well, we'll tell the Legion of Doom on you, and Gabriel's like, I'll take your voices away, and Dean's like, well, I'll write it down, and Gabriel's like, I'll cut off your hands, and Dean's like, well, then people are going to be asking, why are you guys running around with no hands? So good. I love the Evil Dead reference. That's so funny. I think those are probably my favorites. How about you?
I had Dean saying, there's somebody behind me, isn't there?
Oh yeah, that's so funny, that one.
I also had Dean saying, well, you know what, bite me, Gabriel, and Gabriel saying, maybe later, big boy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had Gabriel saying, so I got wings, like Kotex.
That was also very funny.
That just got me.
Yeah,
it was like, what a random really, reference. Really Dean saying, oh, that's the Evil Dead one, the all right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. And then Gabriel saying, Lucifer, you're my brother and I love you, but you're a great big bag of dicks.
Yeah.
That was funny. First rap. I didn't have one, but what was what I said earlier? Oh, Dean being protective when he wanted to save the buffet guy.
Yeah, when Dean's trying to save buffet guy. Oh, also, for quotes, please be tomato soup, please be tomato soup. Yeah, so my thirst trap is Dean annoying Gabriel. It's just Dean defying cosmic powers and being a pain in the ass, but heroically and hilariously. Hilarious heroic shit. It's just so funny. Like, but it's also kind of hot.
Yeah. MVP's Gabriel, right?
I wrote Dean for annoying Gabriel. Casa Erotica 4 or whatever it was. But yeah, it's really probably Gabriel.
Yeah, because he tried to stop
annoyed
Lucifer.
Gabriel into having like his change of heart, his moment of bravery, then everybody would have been fucked. So I feel like Dean's got to get like half the credit.
But he did also then give them a way to try and trap him again. They wouldn't have known that.
What?
Gabriel gave them a way to try and trap Lucifer.
Oh, yeah.
He told them about the rings. Yeah,
but again, I don't know if he would have done that if Dean hadn't pushed him into it. That's all I'm saying. I feel like it's got to be at least 60-40. You could give Gabriel 60 and Dean 40.
Okay. He did literally die for all of humankind.
He did die for all of humankind. I'll give him 60%.
And then we didn't have a motel, but we had a hotel, and it was cool. It was kind of like retro looking. I liked it.
I thought it was really weird, and the design was really weird, and it like hurt me personally, and I gave it 3 stars.
It's like bright lights. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great.
Yeah, it was very clean. And aside from the fact that the food would probably be made of people, the pies seemed good.
Yeah, we won't eat there.
Maybe just dessert. I'm like Dean. I'm like, give me the pie. The pie is fine. Pie's safe. So now we know that they've got to go after death and pestilence. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been liking the whole horseman thing right from when we saw War. So
yeah, it's a very cool storyline.
And I'm guessing that's going to happen quite soon. Maybe pestilence is in the very next episode because there's only 4 episodes left, something like that.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Yeah.
We got to get to the big showdown.
So that's it.
That is it. Thank you all.
Let us know what you think about Gabriel.
Yeah.
And
tell us everything.
Yeah. Oh, we could maybe ask everyone who their favourite horseman is so far.
Yeah.
Mine was War.
War was pretty excellent. Yeah. I think War is also my favourite of the ones we've seen so far.
Yeah.
On that note, now that we've done a little bit of the predictions and we've done all the games, I think that's it for this episode. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at the Witches of Letters podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.